into authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation. We are updating from Diddy Day 10 through 12, y'all. We've been live since this morning, catching up on Diddy days 10 through 12. Thank you guys so much. Keeping your teacup ready to get some tea on Diddy. Remember, when you do get that teacup filled up, like and subscribe. Drop some teacups down in the chat, y'all, well as your spill on it. Spill your tea on it, okay? Let's listen to more of what's going on. Diddy ex-trafficking trial, Kid Cudi faces backlash from the testimony, y'all. Y'all want to hear some of that? Let's listen to some of that. What's going on? What's going on, y'all? What's tea on the other rappers giving Kid Cudi some backlash?
Thanks for staying with us. So this morning, we're shining our spotlight on what lies ahead for Kid Cudi after last week's explosive testimony. So where does the trial and Kid Cudi go from here? So Cudi called Combs a liar on the stand and insinuated that the former music mogul blew up his Porsche. Already, the backlash has been quick and swift from the rap industry. Controversial figure Kanye West put in his 2 cents. He said he wishes, quote, hadn't testified against Puff. West has been a staunch supporter of Combs's from the very beginning. And he's not getting any love from fellow rapper Young Thug either. Thug going so far as to call Cudi a rat for testifying. Now, for the record, Cudi had no choice but to testify. You don't ignore a federal subpoena or else you get tossed in jail.
Now, okay. Let me know this, sippers, if y'all know. Okay, drop this in the chat. Can you plead the fifth? Can you plead the fifth in a federal case in court?
Here's Cudi's testimony. Here's a little clip of it. Remember, there's no cameras in federal court, so we have to use AI technology in the court transcript. We marry them together. So we want to give you a little taste of what it was like when Cudi was on the stand. Take a look.
Mr. Combs made it clear to you that he was also confused. True?
True.
Just like you, he's similarly situated. He did not, to your knowledge, know that you were dating Ms. Ventura. True?
Yes, true.
And he wants to understand, how did this happen? And you want to understand, how did this happen, basically, right?
Yes.
And Ms. Ventura was living 2 different lives. Is that true?
Yes.
Objection.
Overruled. When you went in that room with Mr. Combs, no weapons, to your knowledge. True.
All right. 2 Young Thugs opinion about Kid Cudi testifying against Diddy. He called him a rat. Kid Cudi potentially could have pled the fifth instead of testifying. You can plead the fifth in any situation, where you are compelled to provide a statement, such as during a police interrogation, a deposition in a civil case, or while testifying in a criminal trial. If you believe your answers to a question could be used against you in a criminal case, you can invoke your Fifth Amendment right. So, in a criminal case like what Diddy's in, your silence cannot be used against you. In a civil case, a judge or jury may draw an unfavorable inference from your silence, meaning they might assume you are hiding something. But in a criminal case like what Diddy's in, where Cudi testified, they cannot hold it against you if you plead the fifth.
No.
He definitely didn't threaten you, true?
No.
In fact, he was gracious. I think your word was really calm.
Yeah.
And you were professional as well, true?
Yes.
And it was an understanding, a meeting that this was about a girl, a relationship, and both of you guys were played. That's pretty much how it ended, true?
True?
And the person who played you is the same person who played Sean. It's Miss Ventura, true?
True.
To your knowledge, we're approximately, if you don't mind, approximately 13 and a half years after January 9th, 2012, when your car was damaged. Is that approximately true?
Yes.
To your knowledge, no one has been charged or arrested for damage to your car. Am I right?
No.
Objection.
Sustained. The judge should disregard the witness's last answer.
In the 13 and a half years that has passed in California, have you ever been notified that there's been any other action on this case in California?
Action on?
The car, the damage to the car.
No.
Do you remember back when you were with Ms. Ventura, did she have multiple phones, if you can remember?
I don't think I remembered that.
Do you remember telling that to law enforcement, that she had multiple phones?
I don't know. Oh, I can't remember.
Can I ask you to look at something in this honorable court, with this court's permission, to see if it jogs your memory?
Yeah. If I said it, I guess I said it.
Do you know what a burner phone is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
With regards to the night of the trespass in your home, I think you called it a break-in. I guess more narrowed to trespass, but that's what I'm talking about, okay?
Right.
You received a phone call from Ms. Ventura explaining that she gave your home address to Combs. Do you remember that?
The morning of, not the evening.
About 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. Fair to say?
Yes.
I'm just trying to coordinate you.
Yeah.
And that information about your address, according to what you were told, came from Ms. Ventura to Mr. Combs?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about it. Will Kid Cudi regret testifying against Diddy? I want to welcome in entertainment commentator, actress, and photographer Holland Reed. Holland, good morning. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. What do you think? Do you think Cudi is going to have some regret?
Oh, God. Good morning, Julie. First of all, no, this is not the age or the era of being silent. That has been the problem in all of these industries for decades, for years. It is literally institutional silence that has been the staple of the music industry. This is the Me Too movement of the music industry, and Cassie hopefully will be, I hate to say that she would be the face of it, but this whole entire situation with Diddy is exposing the underlying problems that have been going on forever. Silence, I said it last time, silence is loyalty, and that's what the currency is. No, I don't think he's going to regret it because he did speak up. Now, I will say that the defense and the prosecution are doing their job. Thank God. This is a very good trial to watch. Everyone's doing their job. They're trying to discredit Cudi and Cassie, the relationships. But in the same breath, you are absolutely confirming what has been going on in the music industry for decades. And so I don't think he's going to regret it. I think that if you're choosing between ponying up to rub a little bit longer with a Diddy or anybody else versus your soul and your integrity, then we're going to go on Team Cudi for this one.
Right. Oh, I love what you just said there, Holland. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I would say probably, at least from what I've seen on social, it looks like the overwhelming majority of people are Team Cudi, on this one. And yeah, I mean, taking a stand and look, I can't emphasize this enough. He was subpoenaed to come to federal court. So it was going to get done one of two ways. Either he was going to come willingly, like we saw him, rocking his leather jacket, his jeans, his sneakers, smoking a cigarette as he was going in there. I don't think he was like jumping for joy to get in the courtroom, or they could say, okay, well, we will get a material witness warrant for you, Mr. Cudi, if you don't show up, and we will have the marshals in bring you in. I mean, it could be like, look, do it the easy way, do it the hard way. It was going to get done. Holland, tell me, I want to zone in on what Young Thug said, okay? So Thug is calling him a rat. To me, is somebody, look, I was a prosecutor, and informants are very helpful to the justice system. They are. They get called rats, whatever. To me, there's a big distinction as somebody who's working with the government or the state to inform, to let the state know about criminal conduct versus somebody who just gets subpoenaed because they had their car blown up through no fault of their own. Do you agree that, like, I don't think that the rat characterization is appropriate here? Your thoughts?
Okay, so my thoughts on this are this is a RICO trial. What they're trying to do is establish, as you know this, and I'm not, again, I pretend like I feel like I want to be a lawyer, but I'm not. But where they're trying to establish.
We say it all the time.
Man, listen, we'll talk about that later.
Yes, girl.
The thing is, Diddy was an enterprise. He's not just a man. He was a machine. And he used that machine, and he used the people around him, assistants. Young Thug saying that, honestly, in my opinion, confirms that this was a system. This was systemic. This was a machine. This was an organization. If you are a rat and you are a mobster, if you are, the Don Corleone, whatever, old school, type of mob mentality, you're confirming that by calling someone a rat. So when you're saying that someone is speaking out against the organization, then there's an organization. And I feel like that is where this is all going to come tumbling down, is that Diddy is not one person. Where are the other co-conspirators? Where are the other enablers? There are plea deals, and people are flipping left and right behind closed doors, whether we see it or not. But that right there, Young Thug's commentary, literally for me, confirmed that that he was ratting out an organization. The silence, you are exposing the industry, you're exposing the machine. And that right there is a part of the RICO case that I think will stick.
You are so brilliant, my friend. Bravo. That analysis is outstanding. You got me thinking, as you're talking, like my wheels are turning. Because you think about Thug was in the same position.
It sounded good. It sounded excellent. Like it sounded very professional. However, Young Thug, okay, can call it whatever he wants to call it. That don't make it a rose. Okay, that does not make it, you know what I mean? Whatever it is what it is. And if y'all cannot bring the level of evidence to support what y'all want it to be for Diddy, then that's just not what it's going to be. You see what I'm saying? Now, however, if they convict or acquit Diddy, that's up to the jury. I'm talking about public opinion, what we're sitting here listening to. We do not hear RICO. And just because Young Thug said it was an organization, that doesn't make it a RICO. I'm in an organization called the Autism Society for Children organization. I'm not no mobster, and I'm not doing anything that would be considered a crime for it, and to potentially be indicted in a RICO. But I'm in a dozen organizations. None of them are criminal, and none of them break laws.
He had RICO charges. He was being accused
in the same position,
right, of being the leader of the enterprise,
yes.
And then
Young Thug was not in the same position as Diddy's ass. Diddy was running around with a bunch of hoes. Okay, freaking off, baby oil, a little pouch and briefcase full of drugs. Young Thug was actually recruiting other rappers and people, men in the community, girls in the community, to actually push the level of drugs that would take a RICO to be indicted on your ass. Okay? He was also doing it through his music, letting people know exactly what he does and how he carries out his line of organization in the criminal syndicate underworld. Okay? That is why Young Thug was indicted on a RICO. That is why he was convicted. That's why he's doing 10 years probation or whatever he got going the fuck on. Okay? Because they could prove it. They had all types of evidence that, supported it, collaborated it. And that's why it was what it was. Just like y'all said, Young Thug was finna get light. Young Thug is somewhere kicking it free right now. And we can guarantee you, in the first motherfucking month of Young Thug's trial, they had more evidence on him than they do on Diddy right now. Okay.
Like, what about all the people? There were I think 28 defendants initially, and 5 of them went to trial. Did he call all of them rats? Because they pleaded?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Apples
and that's
and
what I
oranges.
believe. That's what I believe. I say, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. Holland, love having you on this show. I can't wait to see what this week brings.
Okay, y'all, we are updating ourselves on everything. Day 10 through 12 of the Diddy case. Of the motherfucking Diddy case. We've covered a lot of ground. We're about to end our show for the day, wrapping up day 10 through 12 with the United States versus Diddy. TMZ show that they do every Thursday. Okay, we're gonna watch episode 3. They're up to episode 4. However, I didn't come. I'm busy, my own life. So now we're gonna end the show because I'm sure she's done all the testifying she's gonna do. I think Mia is the only testifying person right now on the stand. Okay, his personal assistant. Let's get into our last part of wrapping up our Diddy show with United States versus Diddy, last week's episode. TMZ presents United States versus Shark Combs inside house. Let's get into week 3. Y'all remember when you come in and get your teacup filled up?
It was the showdown.
You subscribe. Thank you so much. Today has been a day, right? I hope you guys kept your ibuprofen on hand because Diddy could give you a freaking headache. But it's a lot of explosive testimony has come out. Yes. Is it up to the level of RICO? We don't know so quite just yet. But there's a lot of riveting predictions going on about whatever has already been said and all of that on both ends of the sword for Diddy. Which one will he fall on? Because if Diddy also gets acquitted, it's not like he's just going to Diddy bop out of the jail. Diddy's life on the outside of the pokey right now is still pretty fucked up. They done seized Diddy's house, sis. They done raided him. They done got Diddy's kids' heads all messed up. Poor babies. They don't know which way to come, up or down, round or round. They have cut all his endorsements and sponsors and shit that he had going on. Nobody wants to touch Diddy from before the trial started up until now with a 10-foot pole doing nothing. So it's like, okay, that's one edge of the sword you can fall on if he is acquitted. And if he's not, going to prison. And then everything he had on the outside of his life, wouldn't matter ultimately anymore while he's in prison, except his children. You see what I'm saying? His family. But the rest of it, he might as well just, let his family sort out and try to continue to work out in the best favor for their rest of their lives. Because he's a 55-year-old man. You see what I'm saying? Whatever time they give him, gonna be something to put some more gray on his ass. So anyway, so anywho, yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's what that'll be. It's a double-edged sword for Diddy. We're gonna get into the TMZ presents United States versus Diddy.
Showdowns in week 3 of the Diddy trial. Kid Cudi, far and away the witness prosecutors are counting on to nail Diddy on racketeering charges. He took the stand Thursday, and his testimony, explosive.
Cudi says that Diddy broke into his house and lit his car on fire.
This week's testimony was lurid for sure, and confusing, especially when the Punisher testified about freak-offs with Cassie and Diddy. I was confused why prosecutors called you.
I was actually confused myself.
And there was dramatic testimony about Diddy gunning for Suge Knight.
If he'd have confronted me and he had a gun, best believe he was going to have to use it.
Diddy took a hit. When Cassie's mom testified, he straight up blackmailed her. But the defense scored big when Danity Kane singer Don Richard fell apart on the stand.
Diddy's defense lawyers ate Don Richard's lunch when she was on the witness stand, accusing her of changing her testimony often.
This is TMZ Presents United States versus Sean Combs inside the Diddy trial. And welcome. It was a mixed bag in this trial this week. The defense scored some big points, I think, but I think the prosecution did too. We're going to break it all down. We're going to have a couple of guests. We're going to have one guest who testified, and it's unclear why the prosecution would want him. And there is somebody else I spoke with, and it's unclear to me why the prosecution didn't want this person, because this person could be key in proving racketeering. So we're going to get into all of that. Let's introduce our guest, Nancy Grace, who is the host of Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. Joe Tacopina, the celebrity lawyer, most recently won the A$AP Rocky criminal case in Los Angeles. We have Ebony K. Williams, host of Equal Justice and Holding Court, and Ashley Banfield, host of Banfield on News Nation, and the host of Drop Dead Serious podcast. So I want to start with Kid Cudi. Let me kind of set the stage here. So Kid Cudi was dating Cassie after Cassie broke up with Diddy. And when Diddy found out, according to Kid Cudi, he got a phone call saying, "You better come over to your house because it's just been burglarized by one Sean Diddy Combs and an associate." And apparently Diddy had gone inside.
This guy is a crazy, look, proven in this case, Diddy's a criminal. Proven in this case, Diddy's a bad guy. Proven in this case, he's a batterer and abuser and despicable. Proven. That is not racketeering. That's not RICO. This is not a RICO act. This is a jealous, crazed boyfriend. That doesn't make it a racketeering act. If that were the predicate for racketeering, a racketeering criminal enterprise, because a criminal enterprise for racketeering purposes has to be an enterprise that's established to commit crimes. This guy became a lunatic because he was jealous of his girlfriend dating somebody else, and he did some horrific things. Let's assume I'm sure he did bomb the car, right? And I'm sure he broke into the house and did all that stuff. That's a jealous boyfriend going off the rails. That's not RICO. That is not RICO in any way, shape, or form.
You know what, though? It is RICO if you get your staff members to do it, and the DNA on the Molotov cocktail incident showed it was a woman, and yet they have not been able to prove it. That
betters of a felony. That doesn't
okay, how
make
about
it
this,
RICO.
Joe? How about this? That break-in at Kid Cudi's house, Capricorn Clark, who was his assistant, was shoved in. She testified, she's going to testify, that she shoved into a car and ordered to go there to that break-in. And she's so worried about this break-in, she's calling Kid Cudi to say, oh, God, Diddy's in your house. And there's another staff assistant who's involved with that as well.
And oh God, Cassie Ventura, our victim, you know, our star witness for the prosecution, she gave Diddy Kid Cudi's address. Our little innocent Scarlett, she gave Diddy Kid Cudi's address to do whatever it was he was gonna do. Our innocent victim.
That is RICO. When you use your enterprise and your staff to order your staff to carry out crimes, that's RICO.
Not racketeering.
You're looking at a crazy
another person who's joining in this criminal enterprise.
Dial it down. You know what, Tacopina? You have officially joined the Itty Bitty Diddy Committee. I think you know what I'm talking about. This isn't just a Tootsie Roll. This is a Tootsie Roll midgie. And I'm gonna send this to you. Congratulations.
That's a low blow, Nancy. Come on.
And Joe, you know what, Harvey, let me just also add this fact. What about the fact that what Sean Combs did, like you said, he probably did blow up the car with the Molotov cocktail. He probably did break into the house. And we're forgetting about the dog, by the way. He actually terrorized the poor dog, locked the dog in the bathroom. Horrible. And we know that's that psychological warfare that we keep hearing about with Sean Diddy Combs in this trial. Trying to show there is nowhere and nobody I can't touch to get to you if I want to show my influence, control, and domain. But here's the thing, Joe. What about the fact that I believe, and this is what the prosecution is certainly arguing, that all of this was done not only because he's crazy and jealous, that is true, but also to keep Cassie from leaving him. That is where now we're broaching the coercive, controlling nature of what the
girls cut up their men's clothes all the time. They get indicted on RICO charges. Girl, you better be careful. You might get a RICO. They might RICO your ass for that shit. Stop.
Prosecution is putting under the RICO count in the original indictment.
But Ebony, but the problem with hold on. The problem with that is, according to Kid Cudi's testimony, Cassie was actually playing Diddy and Cudi by saying she was dating both. Hold on, though. I want to.
She's the one beating smithereens, and she's the bad guy.
Kid Cudi also made her a liar to that jury.
So I want to read to you. I want to read and show you some of the things that were seen.
Videos over at TMZ. We are going to keep it cute with a little bit of tea to spill. Yes, Cassie went through a hair-raising time with Diddy. Thank God she survived it. He didn't beat her to death. He didn't kill her. Thank God for her life, right? She still played parts in it, it sounds like, on her own that were right along beside whatever Diddy had going on. At the tender age of 19 years old, this girl, now a woman, played parts with Diddy that were menacing, that were both sides of the fence type shit. That were ways like she wanted to, you know, participate, have things go in ways for their intimate lives together. She orchestrated times, she embarked on times, and she escapaded along. We're back up with TMZ, y'all.
Raid. And again,
United States
going to
versus
Rico,
Diddy.
guns, I get it, guns and magazines. But we're talking drugs, okay. But what about baby oil, Astroglide, sex toys, high heels? Isn't the prosecution just throwing in the kitchen sink and in doing so diluting maybe the core of what they've got? I mean, the jurors are looking at Astroglide and high heels.
No, it's where was the Astroglide and the high heels? It is within a few feet.
You're
It is within a few feet of two AK-47s.
It's not a
This
record.
is
He's not
important.
charged with drug
Guys,
dealing.
Hold on.
The media has gone bananas over the sexy aspects of this, but the prosecution was very specific about this. Within feet of all the things that you need for the freak offs that have been proven in a pattern everywhere else, the Astroglide, the baby oil, the high heels, the ropes, and no one even mentioned the ropes and the handcuffs. Within feet of those products were 2 illegal AKs with the serial numbers scratched out. And
No, the
prosecution
magazines,
said
not the guns.
Serial
The
numbers were not scratched out.
Take swim trunks.
They were
serial
scratched
numbers
out in the
were scratched out on
magazines.
2 AKs found at that house, according
the
to
magazines, not on the guns.
All right, testified in that trial by the agent was that 2 AKs were
And
found in
his
that house
headphones.
and in the guest house. And they are saying that the proximity of those weapons to those sexual toys means that they easily were used in the coercive nature of the freak-offs. And I think that's a powerful argument.
They didn't have freak-offs in Miami. They were stored together. That doesn't make it a racketeering act. Are you, come on, really? Because they were stored next to each other, that means they were part of a RICO act together?
Well, and also, but also, Ashley, my understanding is these freak-offs occurred not at his home. It occurred at hotels.
Right,
I think that they were happening everywhere because they showed that the master bathroom was stocked. They showed the master bathroom was stocked just like every other hotel room with all of those implements, the candles and the lipstick and the heels and the Astroglide.
But what is it now, a crime to have sex X in a hotel? Are we not allowed to have X in a hotel? Because that is the very place that a lot of people go to have X at, especially if you're a cheater or something of the sort. You go to hotels. If you want to, you know, have an escapade, not at your house or however have you, where, you know, you don't want the, you know, to have the discretion of people in your home, you take them to a hotel. What are you saying, Mr. Levin? You know, it was at a hotel too. Like, yeah, of course it was. Diddy's rich and famous. Who wants to have a bunch of strangers in it? Well, Diddy does. He did. But I'm saying, like, that's probably why he went to a hotel. Most times it's having people all in your house, strangers, escorts, all that, your kids home, walking around. Like, what's really going on? But who knows why rich would do what they do. But that's what he was doing.
Of guns and the baby oil.
Joe Tacopina, how many bottles of baby oil do you have in your bathroom? I have one and it's lasted 15 years. Honestly, actually 20 because my kid's 20 years old. So I'm telling you, if you have 20 bottles of baby oil and 20 bottles of Astroglide in your closet, it ain't being used for just regular use.
Okay.
Listen, Ashley, out of your proximity.
Even if it's not, what's regular? What is regular use? Until y'all prove that he was aping people with it. I've heard it, but I haven't saw proof of it. Unfortunately, they haven't brought proof about Diddy aping anyone. They've alleged it that it happened. Do we believe that Diddy could have potentially did some shit like that? Yeah, of course. Prove it.
But and I actually think it's very nuanced and quite brilliant. The issue is, to Harvey's point of kind of throwing so much at the jury, are they going to, and not to disrespect them in any way, the jurors, but are they, I think it's a tall order to ask the jurors to parse out and keep their eye on so many moving pieces of evidence versus having them focus on what kind of feels more like traditional RICO, the guns, the weapons, the drugs, things of this nature.
Where are the drugs at? We see these guns. They look like my grandpa used them back in war. I didn't see shit. The YNs on the streets with nicer guns than what Diddy had. Is this all you got? You would think Diddy would have some shit. But what is this shit we looking at? That's why I put that in my thumbnail. Like, what is this? What is the drugs on the table? 2 little baggies, $25 a baggie of drugs. What the fuck is that? Ain't no RICO. Goddamn, RICO is kilotons. That is what RICOs do. They bring the people that be pushing tons over here on ships and planes and shit like that. Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing. Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay dipping.